The opinions and suggestions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and are not necessarily endorsed by KRMG, Cox Media Group Incorporated, or the program sponsors. This following program is sponsored by Causeway, LLC. Information in this broadcast is not intended as an investment, tax, or financial advice. Matthew Moore is not a licensed investment advisor and speaks solely from his experience and opinions. All information in this broadcast is for entertainment or educational purposes only. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa are not responsible for the success or failure of any person's investment decisions or purchases. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa makes no and expressly disclaims all representations, warranties, and guarantees with respect to this broadcast and its sponsors. Investing in any market is inherently risky and can be financially dangerous. Invest at your own risk. Gather knowledge in the world of cryptocurrency right now on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk. Welcome to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. Matthew is locally based right here in Tulsa. Questions, comments, concerns? Call 918-460-5764 or send us an open mic using the KRMG app. Now, here's Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore.
And good Sunday evening to you. My name is Russell Mills. Thank you so much for joining us for Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We are live on this Sunday evening in the big city of Tulsa, and we've got a lot to unpack today. Basically, the topic today is going to be, where should Bitcoin fit in your overall financial profile? Is it something you should be investing in? I think the answer around here is probably going to be a yes. We'll see just how far they're willing to take that as we check in with the guy who started this whole thing, our host, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Just call me the Bitcoin Pied Piper. Is that the right term? I think that's how.
Sounds right.
That sounds about
Pied
right,
Piper.
right? Pied Piper. Yeah. So anyways, we do this show, and so I want to welcome all the crypto newbies, lovers, and experts. This is the place to learn. And we do this show because we care. We care about the future. We care about your knowledge in Bitcoin. And I know we have hard conversations on a regular basis. And you might be asking yourself, have you had a hard conversation lately about money specifically? The ones about personal finance, retirement. Maybe you have a plan. Maybe you don't. But one question many of us are still asking ourselves is, will we have enough in this current situation and the environment of the economic and monetary system? Will our strategy work long term? Or are we doomed to slave until the death of this, or in the death of a fiat hamster wheel? Because one thing is for sure, if your retirement is solely dependent on the future of the value of the dollar, well, I'm sorry, my friends, but you're pretty much screwed, in my opinion. And that's not financial advice, so that's just my opinion. But one person who agrees with me on this is my trusted and dynamic co-host, Eric Cooper. How are you preparing for retirement, Eric? Is Bitcoin in the picture for you?
Oh, it is. And it's so much more than that because you kind of have to have your eye. I mean, obviously the dollar is still part of our life and it's going to continue to be. But again, are you depending on that 0.03% APR that you're getting in your checking accounts, or how are you sticking up with inflation? Because if we're told it's 3%.
No, they're telling us it's 8.5, I think, right now. But we know it's actually higher than that.
Oh yeah. Because again, it's you rewind. What was gas at when you were 16? What did Snickers cost? And but we are here to bring hope, not to parade around the things that we know that's everybody's seeing.
Well, I will tell you, also in studio with us is somebody who may also agree with us. His name is Nyc Burns. He is another local Bitcoiner and is the host of the podcast known as the Nyc and Griff Show. Nyc, what do you think about this? You're still in your 20s, a little bit younger than me, but how has Bitcoin changed your view on personal finance and retirement? What are you personally doing?
Yeah, man, that's a really interesting question. I want to say thanks for having me on here. Juiced to be on here with you guys. Whenever I got into Bitcoin, it's really revealed a lot to me about not just Bitcoin, but the current system that we operate on. So that's been some interesting stuff there. Whenever I think about things like real estate, equities, kind of all the normal stuff that people think about, it really makes me think of uncertainty, right, moving forward. And so what does that mean for us? I don't know exactly, and I think that's what we're here to do and think about and talk about. But personally, I'm stacking sats every month, baby.
Yeah, baby. That's right. Got to get those Satoshis, the smaller division of a Bitcoin, if you didn't know. Well, today in segment 2, we will be bringing on Brian Harrington from Choice App. And Choice App is the #1 rated retirement app in the space. And, how has Bitcoin changed the retirement game? That's the question we're going to be asking today. And how should we approach personal finance in this regards? Brian is going to share with us all of his secrets, and you don't want to miss this insightful conversation. It's never too late to start a plan or even reevaluate your current retirement plan. The rules of the game have changed, in my opinion, and the only way to win is to understand the new rules. But before we talk about how Bitcoin has changed personal finance, Eric, can you share with us, to the listeners specifically, about the benefits of our segment sponsor and what they have to offer?
Yes, sir, Matt. This segment is brought to you by a company called Hedge. Do you have a strategy to obtain cryptocurrency on a regular basis? Do you plan on automating your dollar cost averaging? What about getting all or even part of your paycheck in cryptocurrency? Hedge is revolutionizing how you get paid. Hedge makes it easy to automatically convert your pay into crypto. Whether you're an employer or an employee, you can get started with 4 easy steps. Start getting paid in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin. Crypto is a long-term play, and start a strategy today. Hedge is here to make it easy to stack them sats that Nick was talking about month after month. So what are you waiting for? Start living life on the Hedge. Check them out at gethedge.io. Once again, gethedge.io. And check out their logo, a little hedgehog action. Pretty intuitive, right?
Right. So cute. Well, if you're ready to dive right in with Hedge, just go and let them know that I sent you. Go to my website, mattjmoore.com, and on the homepage, you can scroll down and find a button that says Get Hedge. You can start the sign-up process today. I promise it is super, super easy. All right. Well, Nick, I know you are a hardcore Bitcoiner, and recently you joined us at our first Tulsa Bitcoin meetup. What did you think about that? Are you shocked to see the healthy community that's really evolving in Tulsa? I mean, because I think we had 50 people at this last meetup.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Bitcoin has been about an 8-month journey for me at this point. And so I'm juiced to see that there is a huge community here in Tulsa. Our good friend Charlie Spears, who's been on the show multiple times, I met him in person first time, and I was like, wow, I can't believe there's more people here in Tulsa. And so I was juiced to be, kind of be a part of the community, see that there is a bunch of people here, and I'm excited what you guys are doing. I'm excited to be a part of it myself here.
Well, we are most certainly happy to have you a part of it. And I know, I know probably your friend Griff, who you host a show with, is probably listening with us. And, what are we going to do to get your friend Griff to move here to Tulsa?
He better be listening right now. If he's not listening, he's not dedicated. Oh. But, man, I've been planting seeds for I don't know how long. I don't know. I mean, if you find an answer, let me know. We got to get him out here. I've been working on my other guy, Nico, too. We'll see if we can get him out here. I think he's a little bit of an easier win. But
okay, well, I was listening to your show, and you guys were saying that, where Griff's at, there's not really much of a community. Is that true?
I don't know. Maybe not. I can't imagine. So, I mean, he's in Sacramento, California. I got to imagine there's Bitcoiners out there.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
You might have him just look at the price of real estate in Tulsa. Start
Absolutely.
there.
Yeah, I've got a neighbor who sold $1 million house and came here and bought one for $450, and he's ecstatic. Come from LA. So now, how can people find your work? Because I know we had Charlie was on your most recent episode, and because the truth is, our show, your show, it's not enough. Many people are out there still hungry for more Tulsa Bitcoin content. Tell us and the listeners where they can find your Nick and Griff show.
Yeah, best place to find us is on Twitter. We love interacting with people. We're always trying to bring more guests on to expand our perspectives, help people learn along the way. That is Twitter at Nick and Griff Show. Nick is spelled a little fancy. It's Nick NYC, like New York City, and Griff Show. Griff is GRIFF. So hit us on Twitter, and then the podcast itself is on all the major platforms. So YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts.
Well, if it counts, I like the way you spell your name. I've never seen Nick spelled that way, so that was pretty cool.
Thank you.
I thought you were just bougie and you were just calling yourself NYC. And then,
I came up with it. I was trying to figure out how it'd be cool. I thought, I'll spell it NYC.
There you go.
Well, let me ask you this, Nick. What got you into Bitcoin, and why did you decide to do a podcast? I mean, I'd love to hear kind of your genesis.
Yeah, so, we'd kind of talked about this a little bit before we got on the show. Being at Inspire Financial Group before, I had one worldview of what I thought reality was when it came to economics, finance, money, right? And during that time that I was there, I had Griff in my ear talking about, man, you got to look at Bitcoin, this and that, and this and that. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? This didn't fit in with my worldview. And I eventually left Inspire, and I got on YouTube University and got to learn all this stuff and talk with Griff about an hour every day for a couple of months, and we decided, dude, we got to share this with the world. We're having some fun doing this, and so here we are, 20 episodes in. So
I love it. Well, Bitcoin is changing the world. It's changing the way people view money and personal finance, and even nation states. In fact, Dennis Porter, we were talking about this before we went live. Another country, this time the Central African Republic, has unanimously passed a bill to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. And, it's not a well-known country, but hey, it's another country along with a bunch of other islands in El Salvador. So it looks like the trend is kind of picking up. What do you guys think of that?
It was great. I mean, it's great because you see, like the Secretary of Finance, he's been working on this for a while, and so this isn't something that he decided a couple weeks ago. Like, hey, we should do this. They've been working on the legislation for a little bit, and so now we're up and going. Another one.
Yeah, it makes me think of the game theory, right? I mean, it seems like at some point everybody's going to start all the big dominoes are going to start falling, and this is just another one in that order, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, up next we are going to specifically talk about personal finance and retirement with none other, Brian Harrington from Choice App. Stay tuned, my friends. I promise you, we will be right back with more digital gold and orange pills. It might change just the way you think.
And if you don't know what an orange pill is, stick around. We'll have Matt explain it again, because it's one of those little things that you're going to learn when you hang around with guys who are into this culture. I've learned a lot over the last year. I hope you have too. By the way, if you miss an episode, the on-demand section at krmg.com or on the KRMG app is your best buddy, and you can be like Eric's neighbor and watch all 40-something episodes all at once. Yeah, do that. We'll be back with more of Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore after a quick timeout. You're listening to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We are live and local in the big city of Tulsa on what has been a rainy Sunday. The rain's going to push out, I promise. Brighter days are ahead, and that may well be the case for Bitcoin too, but will it be the case for the United States dollar? What about those interest rates? There's a lot going on. Fed's getting ready to bump interest again. Where should Bitcoin be in your investment portfolio? Among the many topics that we'll tackle today, plus the nation's leading app, maybe the world's leading app, and how to do all that. We've got the guy himself going to join us in a moment. I'll let Matt tell you more about that. Matt being our host, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, bud.
That's right. Welcome back, Tulsa. Welcome back, world, I should say, because we do have people from around the world that do listen to this program. But we're hungry, and we're here to share and get people excited about what this space can offer them and do for them, especially when it comes to personal finance and retirement. And to help me go down that journey and rabbit hole is my co-host, Eric Cooper. Eric, welcome back, my friend.
Matt, how are you doing, sir?
And also in studio with us is local Bitcoiner Nyc Burns. Nyc, you ready?
Yo.
There
Thank
you
you
go.
guys for having me on.
And right before we went to break, Russell talked about it. If you want to go back and binge all 44 episodes in a week or so, you can go on KRMG On Demand. You can Google anything having to do with Matthew J. Moore. You can go to mattjmoore.com. Check us out on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube. We got a lot of good stuff on there.
Oh, yeah, we're all over the place. But, last segment we were talking about how Bitcoin is changing the game to personal finance and retirement. But I don't want you to just take my word for it. I mean, today on the line, we have Brian Harrington from Choice App, the #1 rated retirement app. Brian, I know you're on there. Welcome to one of America's only radio shows dedicated to Bitcoin. Man, how are you doing, my friend?
What's up, guys? I love the live radio element of this. My heart's pumping a little bit. You guys this is a good production. It's a good production.
Good. Well, I'm happy. We definitely got a different vibe from podcasting, but we try to have as much fun as possible. So please introduce to people in your own words what you're all about and what you do.
Yeah. So mine is Brian Harrington, Brain Harrington on Twitter. I'm the Bitcoin lead at Choice App. Choice App is the simplest, easiest way to own Bitcoin in your retirement account. So we'll talk about that today. And then, but even more than that, like I'm a Bitcoin activist. Like I believe in Bitcoin being a powerful thing for people's personal finances, but also for their just personal freedom. Like I believe Bitcoin honestly is saving America, like to put it lightly. So I've been to Bitcoin meetups in 7 states across the country, and just am like watching this movement happen, and loved being at Bitcoin Day the other day and meeting Matt and meeting the Oklahoma crew.
So, Brian, can you share with us kind of the secret sauce, the idea behind Choice App, and what do we need to know, and what do our listeners need to know?
Yeah. So just Choice App is the simplest way to, if you have retirement money at Schwab, at Fidelity, at TD Ameritrade, at one of these, just kind of legacy retirement custodians, and you're not happy with the stock market, if that's you, or if you're happy with the stock market or whatever, and you're just interested in trying out Bitcoin, but you have this money sitting in this retirement account, and that's your investment portfolio, you download Choice App, you search it on Android, you search it on iPhone, you search Choice Bitcoin in your IRA, and you click on transfer, click on rollover, and you can move money out of traditional and Roth IRAs. But when I say traditional, I just mean like traditional, custodians as we think of them, into Bitcoin. And so you can just transfer the money, same as if you're moving to any other retirement custodian.
That's good stuff, man. Brian, it's great to meet you here via the live radio. This is Nick here speaking. I gotta imagine it's safe to say that Bitcoin is obviously changing the world economically with personal finance, right? My boy Griff and I were talking a couple weeks ago about being in our mid-20s in the 2020s and what that really means, right? How do we operate within our personal finances? So what kind of advice would you give to young people that are just getting started in life, and then also on the opposite end, people that are looking right at retirement, maybe post starting retirement? What elements should people be thinking about?
Yeah, I say this thing that a lot of people are frustrated with banks, right? Like they're frustrated with banks. They're frustrated with like the idea of a retirement. They're frustrated with the idea of a 401k. And something that I've said on some other programs is the account types are not what's broken. The currency is what's broken. And so good personal finance advice that talks about, maxing out your 401k and like doing this, doing that, paying off your debt, like most of the basic just personal finance stuff, it is directionally correct. And it is awesome. Like I'm a personal finance nerd. Like I grew up on Dave Ramsey. Like I grew up with the envelopes, putting the change in the different envelopes. And my parents taught me that. Like I listened to my dad, renegotiate the cell phone bill and like not let people, overcharge for things or whatever. Like, so all of the regular just kind of advice is fine and positive, but you also have to understand that like the United States dollar like has very fundamental problem with it. Like, and that's not trying to be hyperbolic. It's not trying to be sky is falling or whatever. It's when you look at the graph of the purchasing power of the US dollar and you see how it's losing to goods and services, like sitting in dollars loses to goods and services. So dollars are no longer acting as like the very basic technology that you want your money to do, which is like save your time and labor. Like it's not working for that anymore. So do whatever personal and finance advice, you connect with the most, but understand the bigger picture too of like what's happening with the currency.
So, Brian, let me ask you this. I mean, obviously changes are happening, but when it comes to personal finance and retirement, what is the biggest change you see coming to this space in general? And how should we get ready?
Yeah, I think the biggest change coming is that people are going to learn about self-directed IRAs. Like if you peel back the onion of just what Choice App is, like we are a retirement custodian, but then the type of IRA that it is, it's a self-directed IRA. So like the company I work for, they've been doing real estate in IRAs and physical metals in IRAs like for a lot of years now. And so I specifically got brought on to do the Bitcoin team. But if you're thinking about like a main trend of what's happening in retirement accounts, it's going to be people are frustrated with the short menu of options that they have, and they're looking for more control. Like and this fits in a broader theme of the entire world right now. Like me and you talking to you right now, like we're democratizing finance information. Like self-directed IRAs for a long time were a very hard, confusing thing to do, but now you can download an app and start doing it on your phone. So we're democratizing, self-directed IRAs.
So obviously, the perception is that it might be hard to do this, but to move things like these traditional retirement vehicles into Bitcoin, just doesn't sound that hard as it maybe used to be. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, exactly. So say you have money at just a regular custodian, like you have it at Schwab, you download Choice app, you set up the account, and then you click on start a transfer. You're fed into a digital form that you fill out in 5 minutes with your account number and how much assets you want to bring over. And then boom, it's sent right over to our transfer team. Our transfer team talks to the Schwab transfer team, and the money is like in your account. And then Choice app acts the same way as a lot of other just kind of cryptocurrency exchanges that people are used to, the interfaces of. And so then when you have the money, you're able to choose Bitcoin.
Okay, well, we've got about 2 minutes before we got to go to break here, but I just out of curiosity, I was like, how did you get plugged into Choice? Like, what did you stumble upon them, have a conversation with them? I mean, obviously, it seems like what you're doing for them is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I met him on Twitter. Like, Twitter is where Bitcoiners hang out and where the Bitcoin movement happens. And so, yeah, I saw they had an opening for a product marketing manager, and I told him I like what's happening here because I want people to have more options with their personal finance. And I tried to talk about Bitcoin from the angle of personal finance and just explaining that, the shorthand is you have more dry powder than you think you might. Like, if you've been investing in Bitcoin for a long time, that's the shorthand. Is newsflash, if you have retirement funds that you haven't committed to Bitcoin yet, you have the ability to do that.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're listening to this program right now and you've got more questions than you do answers, I promise you've got to stick around, listen to the show. We got a whole bunch more segments, and we got a whole bunch more episodes that you can actually go check out and wrap your head around things like Bitcoin. We bring wonderful people on like Brian. I promise you won't be disappointed. In fact, I would encourage you, go to my website, mattjmoore.com. You can find all of the information you need to connect with me, social media, along with all the episodes. We have a great time, and I want to just encourage you, if you need somebody to hold your hand through this process, reach out to me, set up a consultation. I would be more than happy to sit down with you one-on-one. I know it can be kind of scary if this is new to you, but I'm here to help you. I'm here to keep you safe, and I'm not going to manage your money, but I'll tell you and teach you how to fish.
All right. And if you'd like to read what Matt's written, he's got a book that includes some information about all this and just a whole bunch of great information and links and stuff on his website. It's mattjmoore.com. And by the way, Moore is spelled with 2 O's, like, Matt J. Moore. Hey, we're going to take a quick time out, get you caught up on the news and weather. We'll be back with more of Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore coming up on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We are live on this Sunday in Tulsa, Oklahoma, as we are pretty much every darn Sunday. Heck, we even did a show on Easter Sunday. Why? Because these guys got a lot to tell you about. And we've got, dozens of episodes in our catalog to point out that fact. And we're going to keep going, right? So this week, we're talking about, saving up, making Bitcoin part of perhaps your portfolio for retirement. Good idea? Bad idea? Well, we brought in one of the country's leading experts on that topic. I'll let Matt introduce him and get us back into it. Matthew J. Moore, welcome back, sir.
Hey, thank you, Russell. Yeah, that's right. People always ask me, wow, you're going to do a radio show on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Like, you're going to have enough to keep doing episodes? And I'm like, oh boy, if you only knew how deep this really goes. But yeah, we come at it from multiple angles. And to help me navigate those angles is my co-host, Eric Cooper. He's sitting here to my left. You ready, man? You ready to do this?
Education. That's why we do it. It's education because there's a lot you can read out there and you can get pushed the wrong way. And we're going to just give you a plate full of something to consider, and we expect you to dig deeper.
Right. And also with us is our good friend, Nyc Burns, who is another local Bitcoiner here in Tulsa, and he's got a wonderful podcast that I would encourage everybody to check out. Nyc, welcome back to this segment. You ready to dive in?
Oh, man. Am I ready to dive in? Let's get into it, fellas.
Let's do it.
If you missed the last few segments, we've been chatting with Brian Harrington from Choice App, the #1 rated retirement app in the space, and that is traditional retirement. And now they are incorporating some crypto, Bitcoin. So, Brian, welcome back to the show, brother.
Hey guys, good to be here.
So, big question that I have is kind of a two-part. Is one, like, what has the general response been with the baby boomer generation when it comes time to having Bitcoin as part of their retirement strategy? And then kind of part two is when they brought you in and they said, hey, you need to play nice in the sandbox with the traditionals. How did that go?
Yeah, so we actually do see a spike in usage in just kind of early 50s, and just speaking from personal experience, working with my dad about it, hit like retirement accounts are where people have their savings. And so if you are of the boomer generation nearing retirement and you feel like you may be behind on your target numbers, like the Bitcoin chart doesn't lie. And so like the numbers are there to make it a part of it. And so we try to make that easy for them. And we are like seeing that. And so the app makes it easy for everyone to do it. And then as far as like, playing nice with traditional finance, like, so on the podcast I host for Choice, like we've had multiple CFPs on, and I like really love talking to CFPs that, are understanding Bitcoin and understanding where it sits and just the broader, just everything that's happening.
Well, and I think, Nick, you were a personal finance guy, right? Like
I was, yep. I was in the traditional financial world here in Tulsa for 16 months. So got to see the ins and outs of that industry for a little while. Yep. I was kind of curious here. I think it's pretty apparent that you look at previous generations before us, right? The changing economic and financial landscape. I think that's pretty easy to see once you start diving into it and looking at some of this stuff. What are your thoughts on that, Brian? And also, I love what you mentioned earlier about some of the core principles of personal finance. How do those things play into a changing economy, a changing world? Mm-hmm. And what are you doing in the midst of this?
Yeah. So look, like working for fiat, working for US dollars is like trying to fill a bathtub that has a hole in it. Like that's honestly what it feels like. And it makes me truly like sad and angry to think about how my parents did that for their whole entire life. My grandparents did it for their whole entire life. Like to be super, super honest, like my family does not have as much accumulated wealth as they could have had because they were dealing with like the ripping off of inflation, like in the Cantillon effect for their entire life. And so it is super frustrating to like, learn about all of this stuff and understand now we have a solution and we have an alternative, and Bitcoin is a better money than, US dollars. And so what am I personally doing about it? Like what I'm personally doing about it is, I know like today we're talking about Choice App, we're talking about retirement accounts. Like to be super honest, like I use Bitcoin as my base money. Like what I said earlier about like the account types are not the problem, the broken currency is the problem. I'm using Bitcoin like as my checking account. I'm using Bitcoin as my savings account. I'm using Bitcoin as my retirement account, because when you just continue to look at, you quoted like the 8% inflation numbers, like the dollar is losing to goods and services daily. It's no longer this like, oh, like, yeah, it's kind of annoying. Like, no, like this is seriously getting in the way of being able to budget and being able to run a family. And so I don't want to use dollars as my base currency anymore. So,
I mean, based off that sentiment, what would you say is the most dangerous mindset out there when it comes to people's approach to personal finance and retirement? I mean, because my take is some people might be, being navigated in in a way that they're just unaware. It's not like there's nothing nefarious going on, because maybe it's just ignorance. Like what's going on here?
Yeah, I think the most dangerous thing to like believe is that the dollar is like quote unquote safe or neutral or like stable. And again, that doesn't have to come from a like sky is falling situation. It's just coming from a mentally, people, when they don't know what to invest in, they hold dollars and they just think that like, okay, dollars are neutral. Like dollars are not neutral. Dollars have a price versus goods and services the same way every other commodity in the world has a price versus goods and services. So that's the number one thing that's dangerous, is to just like think about your currency as like neutral. Because like where I live in Southern California, an average townhome is going up in price more per week than I make in a week. That is a hamster wheel. Or if gas is pushing $6 a gallon, like, and people are driving on $6 a gallon gas to their $12, $13, $14, $15 an hour job, that is a hamster wheel. That means the money doesn't work.
So, we are big proponents of stacking your sats, holding your Bitcoin, sitting on that. When it comes time to retire and someone does have Bitcoin in their portfolio, are you recommending that people borrow against Bitcoin instead of selling it? What are your thoughts when it comes to, the Gresham's Law and just stacking on one side?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So super good question. Tough. That one's probably the toughest to handle in like the short radio segments. What I say about it is, what I love about Choice App is you have the option to distribute in kind. So say you're stacking sats, like I'm using Bitcoin as the base currency of my retirement accounts. When I hit 59.5 for my Roth, and when I hit 65 older for my like traditional accounts, like you have the option to distribute in kind. So like if I'm doing my job right, as just Brian Harrington, like Bitcoin activist and just person, like my son is never gonna have like a dollar based bank account. And so that's where I see my retirement, is being able to distribute Bitcoin in kind and use Bitcoin as a currency. With that said, yes, we are living during transitionary times. And so if like it makes the most financial sense for you as a person to like borrow dollars against your Bitcoin, totally do that, and totally have a plan for that and do that. I'm pushing my brain to a position where like Bitcoin has already won by then, because here's the thesis. Where the thesis about constantly borrowing against your Bitcoin breaks down for me is where, what if the restaurants say, hey, sorry, we only take Bitcoin? What if the gas station says, hey, sorry, we only take Bitcoin? What if it truly is like that scene in Star Wars where he says, hey, Republic credits aren't good out here anymore? Like then like the whole narrative of like, maybe you can loan against this and like Bitcoin's real estate and just refinance your whole life, that can break down.
Yeah, the Jedi mind tricks of the dollar will no longer work on us.
Correct.
Brian, I wish you could have seen the big thumbs up and smile that we got from Eric here whenever you said that this was the toughest. That was the toughest question to ask on a short segment here. You know, thinking a little bit further on personal finances and what feels like an inflection point in society, in economics, in money. You know, who is Choice App really going after? You know, what are your thoughts on Choice App for the young person that's just getting their career started versus somebody that's midway through or, you know, on the latter end of their career?
Yeah, so I know that like the boilerplate answer is like, we're for everyone, but like truly, like there's a retirement crisis and there's a savings crisis in America. Like the average numbers that people have saved up for their retirement like are not good. It's not good. But so giving people access to the number one best performing asset over the last 10 years is like crucial. So when I say like we're trying to help save America, like I'm not trying to be hyperbolic about that. I'm trying to say like people don't have enough money saved for retirement. Life is getting more expensive. All of those are like facts. So we need to have a path for these buckets of retirement dollars to get into, you know, harder money.
So Nick, I know when we were on break, you were talking about, and we were actually having a conversation about the private keys. Did you have a question for Brian about that?
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, the self-custody piece is something that a lot of people talk about in the Bitcoin world. And we're talking about self-directed IRAs. What are your thoughts on how self-custody and holding your keys play in that role? I mean, if Choice App is a custodian of some sorts, and maybe I'm wrong here, maybe you can correct me, but how does self-custody play in this?
Yep. Yeah. So Choice App is able to meet every Bitcoiner wherever they're at on their self-custody journey. Like you have the ability to hold the assets on the platform. You also have the ability to create a trust owned by the self-directed IRA and have your own hardware wallets inside that trust. And so, yeah, we meet every Bitcoiner wherever they're at on that. And I think it's really important.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, guys, we're getting ready to go to break here, but I want you to stick around because we do have one more segment of awesome content, so don't go anywhere. And if you, again, want to connect with us and learn more, you can always go to my website, mattjmoore.com. We are always teaching and always excited to have a conversation.
All right, and if you'd like to learn more about Choice, specifically that app, you can go to their website at choiceapp.io. Choiceapp.io is the website. We'll return with more of Brian Harrington and, of course, Matt, Eric, Nick, the whole crew. Be right back. You are listening to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore, and you're listening to it on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Well, welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. I'm Russell Mills. Do appreciate you hanging out with us on a Sunday. If you don't know, we are here live and local every Sunday at 5 p.m. with cryptocurrency information, all the news that's out there, and, the information you want, like what is an orange pill? Well, I told you we were going to ask Matt about that, so I'll just do it right now because the host of our show is sitting right here, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
That's right.
What's that orange pill thing come from? That's a film reference, right?
Yeah, that is. It's a reference to the Matrix. So you've got the red pill and the blue pill, and depending on which one you take, changes the way you see the world. But this time, the pill is orange because Bitcoin's logo is orange. So basically, it just means that when you go down this rabbit hole, you can no longer look at the world the same way as you did before.
It's going to change your perspective.
Right, yes.
Interesting.
We might sound like a bunch of crazies, but that's why we hand out these orange pills, so you can be crazy with us too.
It's contagious, I will tell you.
Right.
I've seen these guys proselytize, and I've seen them win converts.
Yeah.
Yep, it works.
All right. Well, we're here back in the studio, and I've got Eric Cooper, my co-host, with me, and Nyc Burns, our special guest from Tulsa as well. You gentlemen, are you guys ready to kick off this final segment?
Man, I wish you guys could see what I'm looking at right now. It looks so good here in the studio. You guys look so good here in the studio.
Making me blush.
It's fun. Again, I said it last time we came back in. It's because of education, and people see Bitcoin as funky internet money, but there's so many different nuances to every nuance has a nuance. So I encourage you, if you go back and listen to the old episodes, hit Matt up, find us on Twitter, anybody. We would love to answer questions. We always have the open mic thing on KRMG too. Yep. And if you just want to throw it in, we don't even have to be doing a call-in show because we can address it. We always got a little bit of maybe a couple times for a question.
Yeah. Absolutely. And let's remember, we've really just scratched the surface. 44 episodes, and we're just getting started.
Yes.
We got a lot more to talk about, right, Matt?
Right. And before we bring on our guest back on, Brian Harrington, we're going to make a little bit of announcement about a local sponsor here that helps us makes this show possible, really. It's because of our favorite sponsors that we can do this. This show is made possible by, today, it's a car wash in Broken Arrow. You may be familiar with them, Bubble Up Car Wash. And if you haven't noticed already, spring is in the air. And in Oklahoma, that means two things, tornadoes and nasty pollen all over the place, right? I have that yellow tinted car in my driveway, but don't worry, I fixed it by going to the car wash. There's nothing we can do about those tornadoes, but we can definitely help you with that yellow pollen tint. So, why don't you make a trip down to Broken Arrow? Because this segment is brought to you by Bubble Up Car Wash. They're off of 470 East Kenosha Street. They are Broken Arrow's newest locally owned car wash with all the bells and whistles to make your car clean, shiny, and dry. Come take advantage of their free vacuums, air wands, and towels. They have unlimited wash plans starting at $19.99 a month, and you can add a family member for, guess what? Just $15 a month per vehicle. They have unlimited. Again, I've been there. I love it. They've been awesome. But, I would encourage you, if you want to learn more about them, go to mybubbleup.com. You can find out all the details about them. In fact, their owner, Scott, is going to be with us next episode. Yeah. He is also a big fan of Bitcoin, so love seeing him in the space.
He went with us to Miami.
He did. He went to Miami with us, and that was a blast as well. But today we have Brian Harrington with us. He is with an app called Choice App. Brian, welcome back. I was going to ask you, what else are you up to these days, and where can people follow your work again?
Yeah, so let me hit right off that. That's really important for business owners to understand Bitcoin. That really warms my heart to hear that, because that's what it's all about. That's why I, spending my Sunday talking to you guys. That's why I traveled to Oklahoma. That's why I traveled to, Missouri. That's why I travel around meetups, because I want to see entrepreneurs and business owners understand Bitcoin. And then just on the spring note, this is actually my first official spring, as a gardener. I have a backyard, and so I've been really focused my weekends on just trying to really learn how to grow my own food.
That's awesome, Brian. So we always we bring you on. We want people to know more about you. If someone liked what you had to say about today, how do they get started with Choice? Is it hard? Is there a 1, 2, 3 easy step method?
Yeah, so it's truly not hard. If you're Android phone or iPhone, just go to the App Store, search Choice Bitcoin in your IRA, and we even let you play a little game every day where you can earn free Bitcoin. So you don't have to dive down this whole thing and transfer your IRA immediately on day one, literally just download the app, put it on your phone, play our little game, get Bitcoin every day. And then, yeah, like I'm on Twitter the same way these guys are. Brain, like in your head, Harrington, Harrington, and like send me a message. My DMs are open. I treat it like my email inbox. So yeah, I love talking to people.
Brian, I got to ask you a little bit about Oklahoma here. You mentioned earlier you've been to 7 states across the country involved somehow, shape, or form with Bitcoin. I'm kind of new in here to the Tulsa Bitcoin community as well here, just couple months underneath my belt. What are your thoughts on the Oklahoma Bitcoin community compared to some of the other places you've been?
Yeah. So look, Bitcoin Day was awesome. Like when I talked to people that were there and not even like the speakers or whatever connected to the conference, like the oil and gas people that were very dialed in, like they were talking to me the same way anyone talks to me like anywhere. And that was just like very, very impressive. And what these guys just said about 50 people at a like Tulsa meeting, like that, dude, that's amazing. Like that is great. And so I just want people to be encouraged that like this is a thing that's like happening across America. So don't feel like you're on an island or whatever. Like this it's just awesome to hear. And it's going like you're already Tulsa and Oklahoma City then are just already in, you know, the top 25% of the country. Like that's great. The fact that there is infrastructure and ways to meet local Bitcoiners.
Well, Brian, I got to ask you, it's been itching. I've been waiting to see the Oklahoma Bitcoin Day episode that you guys were filming. When does that come out?
Dude, it truly, so like, this is not a joke. Like we captured so much good stuff that we ran headlong into Miami, and like our editing just got backed up. Like that's truly what happened. So no, I believe this Wednesday, but might leak into later in the week. It just truly was awesome. And so we're gonna throw a good thumbnail on it. We're gonna throw a good title on it, and it really is just a good packaged view of like what local people in Oklahoma are like thinking about Bitcoin.
Well, you mentioned Miami. I was so disappointed I didn't run into you down there, but there were so many people. What was your take on Bitcoin 2022 this year?
Yeah, so Bitcoin 2022, I didn't go last year. My son was being born last year, so this was my first big conference, seeing like Bitcoiners from all across the country. My takeaway was everything is on track. Like I didn't, and I'm saying this in a very just neutral, positive way. Nothing blew me away. Everything met expectations. It just kind of feels like the price right now, just like right at 40K. There were lots of good roadmap updates, like seeing Robinhood allow withdrawals is like very important. Like seeing Strike app talk about their point of sale and talk about their Shopify integration is positive. You know, you mentioned the one other country or island that talked about legal tenders. So I believe like BitPay mentioned Lightning, and so that's really good for circular economy. It just everything was good and solid.
Right. You know, and there was so much breaking news and so much activity going on there. I love it. I'm going to be back down there. Do you plan on going back next year as well?
Almost for sure. Almost for sure. I have to be honest. I like the Bitcoin days more. Like I like the meetups and I like getting to just different states more, but it is positive to once a year, like really look at how big this thing is across the country.
Awesome. Well, guys, this has been a wonderful show. Brian, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to having you again in the future. Man, keep up the good work and keep doing what you're doing, man, because we're winning.
No, I appreciate this. Let's get this syndicated.
Amen.
We need this. So appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah, we'll go around the world. Sure. Brian Harrington with Choice App. Thank you very much. Thank you to our guest, Nyc Burns. You can find him on Twitter at Nick and Griff Show. Nick spelled NYC. And of course, you can find us right here next Sunday at 5 p.m. for more of Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore on 102.3 KRMG. I'm Russell Mills. See you next week.